All right. Welcome, everyone, and thank you so much for being here. It's really lovely to see you all today. I hope everybody's doing well. I'm Rebecca Michals. I'm Director of Seller Community and Engagement, and I am your MC for these monthly check-ins. And it's just really amazing to see so many of you tuning in to hear the latest news and the information that we share in these events. So we'll start with a little bit of housekeeping. The intent of this event is to facilitate a conversation with you guys, the sellers and our partners. And we've designed these events to give you updates on the latest and greatest eBay news. But we also want to hear what's top of mind and answer your questions as best we can. So please put your questions in the Q&A functionality. We have lots of experts on the line to be able to answer those questions for you. And we'll also address some of the questions at the end of the event. These events have a pretty big attendance now, and so we may not be able to answer all of the questions, but we are going to try our best, and we'll give you a way to follow up with some questions at the end. And then reminder, if you want to comment to fellow sellers, please be sure you use the chat, and again, select all panelists and attendees. So now on to the agenda. First, Andrea is going to provide some North America marketplace updates, and then I'll discuss seller engagement topics. Harry will give some demos on some really exciting seller experience enhancements, including coded coupons, automated promoted listings, and more. Nate is here to provide shipping updates, including network updates and details on new enhancements and improvements there. And then finally, Suman is going to walk us through seller and buyer protections. And again, we'll have time for Q&A at the end. And with that, it's over to Andrea.
Thank you. And this is awesome. I see that we're sort of north of 450, closing in on 500. So it's so great to be here in the virtual room with you. For those of you I haven't met, I'm Andrea Stairs, and I am VP of the seller community in North America and also CMO. So I have two hats effectively. On the sell side, I run or I lead the team that Rebecca is part of that leads our events and our social presence for sellers, our community, and our seller education. And on the marketing side, as Chief Marketing Officer, I run all facets of buyer marketing, which is really about driving traffic and great buyers to your listings in the marketplace overall. So today I wanted to, as we're closing in at the end of Q1, give you a bit of an update on some of the exciting news that's happening in focus verticals and give you a sense of what's happening there. I do have to just add one little note of housekeeping to Rebecca's, which is that as we're getting to the end of month end and quarter end, we're approaching earnings. So I can't be as detailed as maybe we would all like me to be in terms of some of the metrics, but nonetheless, lots of exciting content to come. That being said, before we dive in, I did want to address and just touch on the feedback change that we announced last week on Friday. So we announced that we are increasing the character count on feedback from 80 to 500 characters. And we've received a lot of feedback on that feedback change, some of which is already in the Q&A and in the chat, and I very much appreciate that not everyone is aligned to that change. The change was made as a result of buyer and seller research, as well as kind of competitive research. And when we look across at our competitors and similar kinds of sites, we see that the kind of standard has changed in terms of the amount of content that buyers want to leave, and so at 80 we were much at the low end of that, which is the range is sort of more in the 500 to 2,000 characters, and so we've changed as a result of both our buyer and seller research, as well as our sort of product research and competitive analysis. So the new limit will apply to when buyers leave feedback, but also when you respond to buyer feedback. And I know that feedback is a core part of eBay and is very much part of our DNA, but it also needs to evolve. And so I think as we are evolving feedback, we are getting to a place where we can have more information about products and richer content for buyers. But again, I appreciate that not everyone was aligned to that change, but we'll continue to endeavor to make feedback's evolution work for everyone. But for the time being, the only change that we're making is that character count change. So let me go on to talk a little about focus verticals. So as you know, we launched authentication guarantee to buyers in a number of categories in the back half of last year. And really what we're trying to do with all of these changes, and you see on the slide in front of you, is meet needs of buyers and sellers and increase the trust on the platform. It's really unusual for us to be in the middle of a transaction, but the intent is as I said, to increase trust, to give buyers a feeling of that they can transact with more confidence, which means better price realization, and then to protect sellers from bad buyer behavior. So you've heard Jordan talk about rocks in the box and other kinds of really bad behavior that is so detrimental to the marketplace. And while we're focusing these changes on a small number of focus verticals, the goal here is definitely to watch and learn and then bring these changes, roll these changes out to more and more categories so that we can build on the successes that we're seeing in these in the focus verticals, as we call them. And so why have we chosen these focus verticals? And as a reminder, it's sneakers, watches, and trading cards. Because those categories obviously are categories that eBay has a good presence in. They are categories that are characterized by communities of passionate enthusiasts, which give us a great place to build from. And it's great that we're able to leverage a vibrant category for learning. But I think it's important to note that the buyers in those categories don't just shop in those categories. And so even as we are focused on those categories, we're engaging buyers who are already starting to buy across the platform. When we look at sneakerheads, for example, we find that they in 2020 spent an average of $2,500 on eBay. They shopped in more than 10 categories outside of sneakers. They bought more items than the average buyer, so they're really healthy buyers. And 80% of their spend is cross-category. So that means that these are healthy buyers who are already starting to contribute. And the other thing I would say is that they are most likely to be Gen Z or millennials. And so we're really leaning into this idea of collecting, of targeting and attracting new buyers and particularly new audiences. Last year we grew and we can actually go back to the last slide. We grew our active buyer base by 11 million buyers, but we know that if we're going to continue to grow, we need to get more engaged with millennials and Gen Z. So now we'll go to the next slide and I'll give you a quick trip across our focus verticals, so sneakers, watches, and trading cards, and give you a sense of what's going on there and some of the traction that we're getting. So in 2020, on eBay, we sold nearly 8 million pairs of sneakers, 7.7 essentially million pairs of sneakers. And that means 15 pairs of sneakers were bought and sold a minute, which is staggering, but we're only going up from there. And as we talked about, we talked about that cross-category buying benefit, which benefits us all. And I think the key thing is that authentication is attracting a fundamentally new audience to eBay. And so we're leaning into that new audience, as I was saying. So what are we doing? Well, as you see on the right-hand side of the slide, we're really leaning into social. So we've created social handles on Instagram and Twitter. We've got new engagement or activations on Clubhouse and TikTok. With fresh new content that is coming from both us and from influencers. And so we're looking for new ways to tell eBay's rich stories, the content that you bring to the platform, our sellers, the great inventory, those amazing buyer stories, and then working with influencers to build that word of mouth. So a couple of examples. Late last year, we did a TikTok engagement called Lace 'em Up that resulted in 4.7 billion views, billion with a B, of our hashtag, which just blew us all out of the water and was, even TikTok was super impressed with with that kind of traction. As I said, we've launched new handles now on Instagram and Twitter. And one of our first activations there was a March Madness inspired sneaker showdown, where we pitted 16 pairs of sneakers against each other and asked everyone to vote for the winner. We were one of the first companies ever to use the voting function on TikTok, and we got, I think, around 600,000 or 700,000 votes on TikTok. And in total, we got more than 2 million votes across TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. And the winning shoes were dropped and sold out within minutes, and it was incredibly successful. And really, that's a great example of us marketing to a new demographic and in a really engaging, really relevant way. This week, we've launched a partnership with Chicks with Kicks. Those are the three women that you see in the middle picture. These are women who love the sneaker category, and sneakers, women's sneakers grew more than 80% on eBay last year, and sales of men's sneakers by women also doubled. And so this is a part of the category that is really like full of growth and super interesting and probably pretty underserved. And so we've done a partnership with Chicks with Kicks. These three women are going to sell 22 pairs of their collectible, highly collectible sneakers on eBay. And I think those sales start this week and are expected, those sneakers are expected to be worth more than $1 million. So campaigns like these are engaging sneakerheads, and they're positioning eBay as a marketplace that understands this culture, this passionate collectors group, and these enthusiasts, and really gives us a place to grow from. So we'll transition now to watches. What's happening in watches? Well, in the fall of 2020, we launched post-sale authentication. So any watches over $2,000 bought on eBay now go to a third-party authenticator for review before they go on to the buyer. Since we've launched, we've had 17,000 watches authenticated. And so that is an amazing total given how expensive this particular corner of the marketplace is. And we've created this extra layer of trust and confidence for shoppers, as well as protecting our sellers. And what we're seeing is that the customer satisfaction score in the luxury watch category has just skyrocketed. You see plus 14 points in that period, which is amazing, and really speaks to the benefit that we're delivering to both buyers and sellers as we layer on these new experiences. So how are we engaging watch buyers? Well, it looks really different. It's still a lot of social, but it's different kinds of social. So we've launched a handle on Instagram, but you see that the kind of the photography and the content looks quite different than what we're doing in sneakers. We recently had our first drop-in on Clubhouse, which is a audio-only social platform that was incredibly successful. And again, we're using influencers to tell our story in a really credible way. But again, these are influencers who are specific to the watch category. All of this is geared to driving credibility and aiding in a perception shift of eBay in this particular category. And again, it's creating amazing learnings for us to apply to the rest of the marketplace. So let's go on to trading cards and give you a sense of what's going on there. So, you can just pick up any newspaper, not that anyone picks up a newspaper anymore, but you can go to any online site and see that trading cards are on fire. And it's the story is the same on eBay, where we have seen late last year, for the full year, our growth was up 142%. So we doubled the size of the category. 4 million more card transactions than the previous year. 4 million more transactions in the previous year. And that includes sports cards, collectible card games, and non-sports trading cards. And 2021 is on a tear as well. We're setting multiple transaction records, transactions that are over $500,000. You see a couple listed there. Our latest record was a Pokemon complete base set that went for $650,000 recently, making it the highest trading card sale ever on eBay. And and we've got more to come. I think today we're dropping exclusive, and this is where I have to read because this is not my category, 250 2021 Leaf Lumber Baseball eBay edition box sets. So I think that our first drop was at 8 a.m. this morning, and all 250 box sets sold out in under a minute. So you can just tell how hot a category this is. We're also engaging with new experiences here too. So in December, we launched eBay Standard Envelope, which I know we've talked about before, which offers shipping for under $1 for cards worth under $20. So a real difference in the value proposition, giving an affordable tracked service for this category. And I know that there's lots of interest in how and when that service expands. And if we go to the next slide, we'll get a sense of another capability that we're launching shortly, which is image scanning tool. So using images to list cards. So Harry is going to give us a demo in April, and so definitely come back for that. But what is going to happen is that you'll be able to use your eBay mobile app, iOS or Android, to scan cards and cut the listing time in half for these cards. And that's important when we consider that there are 119 trading cards listed per minute on eBay last year. Over 41 million new trading cards listings were created, and 45 million trading cards sold in 2020. So the volume of listings is crazy in this category. And so anything we can do to make that listing experience simpler, faster will obviously be a huge help. And obviously this is technology that we will start to apply here in cards, but has tremendous legs as we think about other categories. So plans here are to launch first with Magic the Gathering, and then expand to Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And then we'll start expanding it further as time goes on. So all this to say, you can see all of the new things that we're doing. And again, we're learning in verticals with the goal to apply to the full marketplace. And I can tell you that there's an incredible team behind the scenes making all of this happen, and really very much aligned to making eBay incredibly relevant to the enthusiast communities that come to the site and trade. So hopefully that is a fun update. One last thing that I wanted to cover before handing back to Rebecca was our recent re-commerce report. So eBay pretty much invented online re-commerce, which is like the selling of used goods and giving them new life. Our first item ever sold was the famous broken laser pointer that Pierre sold to a Canadian customer. And so we recently released a global re-commerce report, and I wanted to share a couple highlights for you. I know there are so many people who are in this space on the call today, and just thought it would be fun to share some stats with you. Obviously, everyone knows the benefits of re-commerce. There are clear environmental benefits as we keep things out of landfills and give them a second life. Obviously, there is great value to buyers. And then for many of you experiencing this firsthand, this idea of re-commerce can create economic opportunity and really create, can fund a life and fund and creates an amazing basis for a business. So what did we see? In the last 12 months, 80% of US sellers say they have bought pre-owned goods. 72% of US sellers say that buying pre-owned goods became more common in recent years. And I think what's really interesting and maybe not surprising is that younger generations are very into this trend. So 81% of Gen Z, so that's 18 to 24-year-olds, say buying pre-owned goods is becoming more common. And so we know that that's something that is really interesting and is a key value proposition that we can use with our younger demographics. So I think that someone will have put the link to the report into the chat. And so I hope that you'll find some really interesting stats that give you, a sense that what you're doing is yielding an amazing whole as when we look at it from a total market level. And with that, I will hand back over to Rebecca. Thanks, Rebecca.
Oh, thanks, Andrea. So I'm here to talk to you about some seller engagement updates and what this month looks like. So you may not know this, but we do. We have monthly themes across all of our seller channels, and March is Refine Month. So week 1 of this month was all about the seller update, which came out on, I think it was March 3rd, and we'll put a link in the chat. Week 2 is all about listing practices and tools that support that. Week 3's theme was enhanced marketing tactics, so automated promoted listings, coded coupons, things like that. And then week 4 looks at improvements to the post-sale experience. Now, in just a moment, Harry's going to give some demos on the new automated promoted listings and coded coupon features. We also launched our Refine Month sweepstakes on our eBay for Business Facebook page. I hope you follow us, like us there. And you have a chance to win a $100 eBay gift card by commenting or sharing pictures in the post for your chance to win. And you have until April 5th to enter. And we can't wait to hear your great stories, tips, info that you can share with other sellers. Now, we in my team actually manages a bunch of seller engagement channels, ways that as sellers you can connect with each other and learn more information and support that will help you grow your business. And we're responsible for these events that you're in right now, the community, seller school, eBay for Business, social channels, like I mentioned earlier, and even the podcast. They give us a chance to connect with you, our sellers, our partners, and educate you on important announcements and hopefully to motivate and inspire you as well. Hopefully you're already aware of all of these wealth of channels and touch points, but if not, I wanted to take just a moment to explain each one of these. So the first thing is Seller School, which is a totally free online learning hub to help amplify your business, and it's a great resource for learning. You can choose from 85 interactive self-paced lessons, and again, totally free. Seller events like the one you're in right now. We have something happening almost every month this year. We also have meetups run by sellers just like you in more than 30 locations around the US. So we'll put a link to the seller events page. And then our community, if you're not aware of this, we actually have a really thriving community forums that sellers and eBay staffers all engage in. And it's where you can ask questions, share what you know, and get ideas on how to grow your business. And then, of course, there's the eBay for Business channels. So that's like Facebook and YouTube, where you can get advice, watch inspiring videos, and it's all really just for eBay sellers. And then finally, I hope you'll tune in to the eBay for Business podcast weekly. It usually drops sometime on Tuesday. And it's just a great show to help every seller at every stage. So we're really excited to connect with you across all of these channels to inform and educate, again, hopefully motivate and inspire. And there's 2 other key resources for sellers who are looking for additional education or support. Seller Center is a vast library that you can search through and browse through with lots of learning resources, and they're built to help sellers at every stage grow. And then, of course, Seller Help, which is available 24/7, and it lets you manage your returns and refunds, account-related inquiries. And you can do that either by doing it yourself, looking through the content, or you can get in contact with seller support via chat or by asking for a call back. And with that, I think we're over to Harry for some demos. Thanks.
All right. You guys see me? Thanks, Rebecca. Sorry, I had a little issue there turning everything on. Hello, sellers. Oh, man, as always, great to see so many familiar names in the chat in so many places. I mean, it's awesome, up above 500 participants today. But just in case, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Harry Temkin, head of seller experience, and my team is responsible for all the analytics and tools that help you manage your business on eBay. And, you know, there's nothing better than these check-ins because it gives me the opportunity to share some of our newest capabilities with all of you. So let's get right to it. What is on tap for today? So first, I am super excited about our latest addition to our seller marketing tools, and I know you guys are too, the ability to create coded coupons. Second, another awesome feature, our newest promoted listing capability, automated campaigns. Third, I want to show you the volume pricing accessibility from active listings. And then fourth, I want to show you the updated packing slips and invoices and the upcoming pick list capability. But before I get to the demos, I do want to provide a quick update on the unified listing tool. All right, so I want to remind you that we recently announced the early access, okay, the early access to our next generation listing tool. And remember that it has a fresh new design. It's to be easy to understand and navigate. It's uniform across the platform. So whether you're on mobile, you're on tablet, or you're on a desktop, the listing experience will not only look the same, but it'll also have the same tools and services across all your devices, making it easy to switch on the go, all right? And to be able to create listings faster. And it's built on a modern technology stack, which allows us to more easily and continuously update the tool with new capabilities like the background removal tool for photos. So that's now available on mobile, tablet, and on the early access version on desktop. Now, as always, we greatly appreciate and value your partnership, and we are absolutely committed to listening to and incorporating your feedback. And we have gotten a lot of feedback, okay? And I'm here to tell you, we heard you, okay? We went a little too mobile on desktop, right? Too many clicks and mouse moves to complete your listing. So based on this feedback, we're in the midst of making some significant modifications to bring back a lot of the inline editing to the listing tool. So when you're on desktop, and when you're on the desktop, so you don't have the right flyout, okay, as much, we're going to move that to a centered pop-up. And we'll only open that pop-up when you need to make advanced changes to the listing. So key elements like title, description, condition, price, quantity, all of those are going to be single click inline actions. All right. And with additional enhancements to the center pop-up, adding item specifics is actually going to be easier and faster than before. In some of our tests, those of us using the tool and listing with it, we are doing it faster. That's right, item specifics faster and the listing itself faster with these changes than the current tool. So as a reminder, the new listing tool is in early access, okay, with more features to come to bring it to parity to the existing listing tool. We're not forcing a migration, and you can switch back at any time. So in that upper right-hand corner, there's the link to switch. That link is there in the new tool to switch back if you want to. So as we continue to iterate on the design and incorporate more of your feedback, the goal is to have the new listing tool be easier and faster than before. So I ask you to please keep opting into the tool, clicking on that upper right-hand link, all right? Use the tool as much as possible, and don't forget to tell us what you think. That's really, really important. Use the feedback link. It's how we actually make the product better. So over the next couple of sprints, you're going to start to see that inline editing come back in all of those key fields, and you're going to find that you won't be moving the mouse as much, right? It'll be a lot less clicks, and at the end of the day, this is going to be a faster tool. All right, so let's move on to the demos. I am going to take over the screen. So bear with me 1 second. And as I said, there we go. Let's go to desktop. All right. Can you guys see my screen? I think hopefully you guys can. Can you just give me a yes or no on that just to make sure?
Yeah, we can see it, Harry. Thank you.
All right. So as I said, I'm super excited to start with coded coupons, and this is going to be available to all store subscribers. And so now you can create a coded discount that can be shared with buyers on and off eBay that'll be applied at checkout. Now, how do you do that? So on the marketing page, you're going to go to promotions, and then you're going to see it under create a promotion coupon right here under volume pricing. So I'm going to click on that. It's going to land on a new page, obviously. And here you're going to say, what do you want the coupon code to be called? This is what's going to appear to buyers. Well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to call it Gamut 10 after my store, because maybe I'll do, say, a 10% off coupon. Now you're going to see the coupon summary in the upper right-hand corner. It's going to create a name for the campaigns. This really can be whatever I want. Just for the sake of time, I'll leave the default here with that crazy number. But again, I could just call it maybe Gamut 10% off if I wanted to. And you're going to see there are two forms of coupons. First, private, okay? This is anyone can use the code, but it's not going to be posted on eBay, right? It's yours to share however you want, so you can socially share it, but the only way that a buyer would be able to use it is if they have that code. We're not going to display it, versus a public coupon where that's going to appear in search results pages, that's going to appear on view item, it'll appear on your store sales page. So that's where it's completely public and anybody can use that code at checkout. Now, you'll see there are a wide variety of discount types that can be used for the coupons. The most common are visible at the top, but if you use the Show More button, you'll see we give you a lot of flexibility here in terms of designing whatever type of discount you want to be associated with the coupon. Now, again, maybe this is just going to be an extra 10% off, so we'll do that. And as we scroll down, another great feature of the new coded coupons is usage limits, right? Usage limits. The ability to set budgets, right? So I can set up maximum savings per coupon. How many times can the coupon be redeemed by that particular buyer? And I can set an overall budget for my coupon. So, example, maximum savings, I've said I wanted to do 10% off, right? But it'll never allow more than $100. So if I have a very expensive item, it'll just do 10% up to a max of 100. And then for all the coupons that I've created, I can actually set up a total budget. And when I reach that, then the coupons would no longer be eligible. All right. Now, as we scroll further down, we've got the item eligibility here. So this allows me to determine what inventory do I want to have available to these coupons. And again, it works across the eBay categories, your store categories, or a specific set of items. So if I choose the eBay categories and I click into choose categories, it's going to show all the categories of listings that I have currently. So as an example, maybe I want to do pottery and glass. I've got a bunch of china up on the platform right now. And what it then allows you to do is also filter by a price range as well as item condition. So again, we give you a lot of flexibility in terms of what inventory do you want to apply against each of these coupons. All right, so I'll just leave it as that for the moment. As for the demo purposes. And then again, oops, I think I actually need to choose the category. Sorry, there we go. All right, and we need to move this out of the way. Let's include those categories. Sometimes it's hard on Zoom. You've got the control bar in your way, a bunch of stuff. So now what it's going to do is it's going to bring those listings in with the pictures of the listings. So if I want that to be on the coupon, I can do that. I can also add a description. Okay, so get an extra 10% off, right? So that's what will appear on the coupon. And then I can finally set the duration and I can go ahead and launch the coupon. So I'll schedule the start date right now. Let's say we want it to go for a month and I'll launch the coupon. And now that is going to appear on my active discounts right here at the top. So how easy is that? Now, what I want to do is I also want to talk to what is up and coming with coupons, because this is just the first phase of coupons. So one of the cool features is we're going to allow printing of coupons directly on the new packing slips as well. So you can send coupons to buyers that have purchased from your store directly from the Seller Hub orders page, and that's going to trigger an email and a message to your buyers. You're also going to have access to a URL for your sale event page that can be shared socially. So we're going to add quick links from Seller Hub and also add Instagram support. And we're going to make social sharing easy directly after you create the coupons as well. Again, more upcoming features, targeted coupons tied to a specific buyer. So the coupon will be tied to the buyer that you sent the coupon to, and only that buyer will be able to use the coupon. There'll be more targeting options to interested buyers. So in addition to targeting previous buyers from Seller Hub orders page, we'll expand to a longer history of buyers. And in addition, we'll also expand the targeting to buyers that have expressed interest in your inventory. We're going to add that very cool repeat buyers indicator. So when you receive an order, you can send a special coupon and add a special thank you note in the package. We'll have automation rules to trigger coupons based on rules that you set. Eventually, we're going to add this onto mobile so you can create and manage from there. And there'll be more exposure to buyers. We'll expand ways to expose the coupons to buyers with push notifications and marketing emails, My eBay buying, and on your storefront. So much more to come with coupons over the course of the year. This is literally just phase one, but I know how many of you have been waiting for this amazing feature, and we are just beginning the rollout today. Okay, so what's up next? So our newest promoted listing feature, automated campaigns. So this is a new way of creating PL campaigns that's going to allow you to automate adding and removing of listings with the ability to set custom ad rates or automatically track to the suggested rate. So this type of campaign is really good if you prefer fast, easy, quick setup, daily ad rate updates, and automated listing promotion. And it's a really great tool if you've got a lot of dynamic inventory and high turnover rates of the inventory. So let's have a look at that. All right. So we need to switch here. Okay, now this is not yet released. I'm actually showing you a real-time demo in QA. This is another couple of weeks away. All right, but you'll get to see it live. So again, now we're back on the marketing page, but this time under promoted listings, and I'm going to create a new campaign. And what you're going to see is on the right-hand side, the new feature of creating rules. And when I click on create campaign, what it's going to do is take me to an all-in-one page, right? When you create PL campaigns today, it's actually kind of a three-step process. Here, it's nicely combined into one page now, so super easy. Again, you can give it a custom campaign name, when you want the campaign to start, and how long you want it to run. And the same thing that we did with coupons, we give you great budget management, because I can go in and not only select the specific eBay or store categories, all right, but I can also choose a range. So for example, if we just choose, turn all these off, let's say cell phones and accessories, immediately see it's filtered the listings down to 135. So it's dynamic filtering here. And I'm going to say, you know what? I want a range of say $0 to $75. Those are the only listings that I want to include. And that's going to reduce the listings down to 37 now. Now we go down to the choose ad rate strategy. You're going to see that it's going to automate the suggested ad rates, of course. And there's a couple of things here that are really cool. One is I can set the ad rate cap. All right. So if it's going to follow the suggested rates, I only want to go to a maximum of, let's say, 6%. So even if the ad rate is 7, it will only ever go to 6 in these sets of particular listings, these 37. Okay. You can also adjust against the suggested ad rate if you want to, plus or minus a certain percent. And of course, you can just apply a single ad rate. So the cool thing is here, I'm just going to go over and view the details. So it'll actually run through all of the listings in the particular category, show me what my listings, they're priced at, and then based on the suggested ad rate and my cap, show me what the potential ad fee is going to be. So again, you can see that the top one actually has a suggested ad rate of 3.6, and it's going to match that. But here where the suggested ad rate is actually almost 18%, again, because I've set the max, it's only going to go up to 6, and that's it. And that's what it's doing on the rest of the listings. So I can then launch that campaign, and there you have it. Now, the great thing about this is that anytime now that I bring new listings that are in this particular category and are priced between $0 and $75, they will automatically be added to this campaign at the suggested ad rate to a max of 6%. So there you have it. That is the new automated PL campaign feature. All right. So next up, let's go to volume pricing. So, volume pricing has really turned out to be an amazing tool for all of you, for all of the sellers that have multiple quantity items. If you're not using volume pricing, I highly recommend it, because the data shows that it really does increase the chances of conversion by almost 10%. All right. And one of the things that we've done now is make this easily accessible directly from the active listings page. And as you know, we've been doing a lot of work on the active listings page. The last thing that we did was add the ability to edit item specifics from here. And now this is the first phase of being able to add and edit promotions from here. So you see a new filter pill, which says multiple quantities. So I'm going to click on that. So it filters all of my active listings that have quantities more than 1. Now, you'll notice that 4 of the 5 already have volume pricing added. So it tells me here what the volume pricing is. And there's a couple of different scenarios that are at play. If I edit the bottom one, this is going to allow me to edit directly from active listings, changing the percentage offset, the thresholds, and recalculating immediately to show me what those thresholds are on the right-hand side. It's what we call a listing level campaign. So at an individual level, I can create just a campaign for this listing directly from active listings. Now, that's what I'll do here, where it says it's eligible because it has quantity more than one. So I'm going to say add volume pricing. It's got the preset numbers right here, 5, 10, and 15. It's going to tell me what that discount is. And I'm going to say add volume pricing. And that's simple. Now it has been added with the details there. Now, if I go to the one below it, which is the dinner plate, and I say edit volume pricing, this is actually already part of a volume pricing campaign. So 2 of the listings are in a combined volume pricing campaign that I set up from the marketing tab. So when that is the case, it will indicate that to you. And when I click on it, it'll actually take me to the marketing tab and allow me to edit the campaign directly from here. Okay, so if it's in a campaign, it has the link to take you to the marketing page to edit the campaign as a whole. Otherwise, I can individually add listings, right, with volume pricing directly from active listings, or I can edit the individual ones again, all from there. So very, very handy tool, new filter mechanism to just show me the quantities, the listings that have the multi-quantity, and I can very, very quickly now add volume pricing. Okay. So last but not least, let's talk about the new invoices and packing slips. So I'm going to go into my managed orders, and I'm going to take a particular order here that I sent that was a combined order actually. This actually was using the volume pricing discount. So you can see it sold via promoted listings, and it saved up to 15% when you bought more on the promotion. And I'm going to click on the drop-down menu and choose print, packing, slip, and more. Okay, so I know that menu item changed a little bit, and that's because there are going to be more features here. And when I click on this, it opens up a new, whoa. Hey, have you guys ever seen the blue screen moment that Bill Gates gets? This could be my blue screen moment. Let's see if we can make that happen again. Okay, this is going to be my blue screen moment. So it happens every once in a while, everybody, when you're doing real-time stuff, but let me show you what these invoices will look like, and then I'm going to ask my team what happened. All right, and we'll get on that right away, but that's what happens when you do real-time demos. So first off, on the left is an actual packing slip, and what's important to note is that you can see it actually has your store logo on there now. It has your store URL. You can add your feedback to it. It also has a QR code that can be scanned that comes back to your storefront. And particularly if you're on the newest version of stores, that means in mobile, it'll go directly to your store, which is super, super cool. It also is showing the pictures now on the invoice. I mean, I think all of you would remember that the old invoices were really, really old. They were on a very, very, very old platform, and they couldn't actually print properly on any printer. I had a lot of you ask me about, hey, look, I use shipping labels. You know, I have a printing label machine. It would be great if these could just print on the printing label like my shipping labels. Guess what? They will, right? Because they will auto size and meet whatever size paper that you have. So this is your packing slip. And remember that up and coming soon, you'll be able to put coupons directly on the packing slip to attract those repeat buyers. Now, if I go down to the next page, this is an example of the order receipt. Again, so very, very similar. You'll actually, if I have the dialog box open, you can customize almost every element of the page. You can add custom thank you notes now. You can also make it an order, a gift receipt has that option. So it removes certain things on the slip and the order receipt if you're sending it as a gift. And what is up and coming, which is a really powerful feature, is what is on the right, which is what we call the pick slip functionality. So this enables you to print out all of your orders, right? The order numbers, the item IDs, you can see all the details of the order here and where it's being shipped to. And if you've already printed the shipping label, it will have all the tracking information on the right-hand side there as well. So that as you go pull these things out of the warehouse, right, or off the shelves, you can match it up to the shipping labels that you've already printed. So again, this makes it super, super easy. And I know a lot of you have been in the rooms, you know, you were doing a lot of interesting things over the years with the old invoices, cutting names out and scotch taping them to other printouts to kind of line all this stuff up together. The idea here is we want to make this much more simple, bring them up to date, right? Bring them in color, add the QR codes, add functionality to bring buyers back to your store with coupon codes. That's what the new technology allows us to do, is start combining all these features together, and then to do things like the pick slip, where you don't have to start cutting these things up to go and get all of your inventory to ship it out. So there you have a look at some of the newest features. And that's it for me today. So thanks very much. I will hand the screen back over to Nate.
Great, thanks, Harry.
I think, right? No, Nate, you're taking over today. Sorry.
You got it.
Right.
Yeah, I wanted to provide some shipping updates. We'll walk through a network update, talk about some enhancements and improvements, and also share shipping badging changes. You can go to the next slide. The good news here is that the USPS network, we've seen recovering basically back to steady state COVID levels. If some of you may recall, back in the beginning of COVID, USPS added a day to their time in transit service level agreements on priority mail and first class, and we're now showing that the network's largely back on time against those extended SLAs. We've seen high levels of acceptance scans, good on-time rates, improving from where they were kind of in the messy part of last year and through the holiday. And for USPS, they're getting back to on-time rates where they normally sit. The extensions that they put in place back at the onset of COVID are still there, but they're showing up on time against those extended SLAs. FedEx and UPS are also showing their networks on time, generally across the US. FedEx has really great 2-day rates on our platform, so I'd encourage you to check out those faster speeds if you're looking to get buyer upgrades on shipping speeds out quicker. And UPS has really great competitive rates on our site. They are going up on April 11th. They're going up about 5% in some areas. In some areas, you'll even see dropped rates of about 2.5%. We're going to continue to ask that you still handle on time, meet your handling time promises. We're really using our delivery estimates to manage buyer expectations. We're making adjustments at the zip code level to account for network delays that we see, weather impacts that we see in the networks, and we just ask you to stick to your handling time. If we can go to the next slide, exactly. For some enhancements and improvements. I feel like we always talk to you about eBay International Standard Delivery, our new shipping service for US exports. Check it out. There's really competitive rates. We're having great service, great tracking and visibility worldwide. Just really want to encourage those of you who haven't checked that out, try it out. Also, we just introduced QR codes now on our native app. So in case you don't have access to a printer, you can use the app now as well as the desktop application to get a QR code that you can take to USPS, UPS, or FedEx, and they'll print the shipping label that you've purchased on eBay on your behalf. So check that out. And then good news is that buyer returns, we're introducing QR codes in the second quarter. So look for that update coming soon. No more buyers saying, oh, I'd love to return this, but I can't print the label because I don't have one. Now they can get those labels printed for them by using the QR codes. The next slide. Quick update here on badging. We've retired the guaranteed delivery and fast and free badges, and we're now showing badges around free 1, 2, 3, and 4-day shipping. We made these changes to modernize the badges that are on the site and make it clearer for buyers about what they can expect, particularly for new buyers. We've removed the guaranteed badging because we're no longer guaranteeing delivery dates to buyers. This example here on the screen, the free 3-day shipping, it's cleaner, clearer, no more guessing what fast means when it comes to delivery speeds. Our tests and research showed that buyers were really able to comprehend and understand quickly when their items would get there with these new badges and language. We're going to keep iterating, so any feedback that you have for us in this space is very much appreciative. I want to just finally make a note that, protections, we continue to monitor weather, carrier delays, impacts in the carrier networks, and we're continually proactively providing protections where needed. We ask you guys, make your handling time promises, stick to them when you can, try to make those handling time promises as short as possible, and stick to it. And I think that's a good tee up off to Suman, who's going to speak more about seller protections and buyer protections. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Nate. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Suman Chhabria, part of the trust team that handles buyer protections, seller protections, and resolutions. I'm going to cover 3 topics for us today. One is just an explanation between what is the eBay money back guarantee claim versus a payment dispute. As eBay is migrating over to manage payments, a lot of the sellers will start to see this new type of dispute, and I'm just going to explain the difference between the two. I'm going to just go over handling claims and disputes and how sellers are protected and just some best practices. We have a lot of material here today, so let's just get right to it. eBay disputes, pretty self-explanatory. Buyers come to eBay when they have an issue and tell us if they have an item not received or they received something that's not as described. Disputes, on the other hand, buyers go to their card issuer or their payment provider, such as PayPal or credit card, and file a dispute over there. eBay disputes, like I said, are 2 types: when they haven't received an item or not as described. On the payment side, this comes in as a merchandise dispute, but there are 2 additional types of disputes that we also see. One is when buyers simply don't recognize a transaction, they can file a dispute for unrecognized transactions. And the third one is on billing disputes. An example of this would be a buyer that may have been charged twice, or they didn't get a credit process correctly, etc. One thing to note, though, is that every time there is a payment dispute, that takes precedence over eBay dispute. So an example is buyer files a dispute on eBay or an EMBG claim on eBay, changes their mind and goes ahead and files with their card. At that time, eBay money back guarantee claims will shut down and we will handle everything through the dispute channel. We want to make sure that we don't get into a situation where a buyer gets refunded twice. So disputes will always take precedence. Can we move on to the next one? Like I explained, these are 2 different types of disputes. The timeframes are different. Buyers file for 30 days post their estimated delivery day on eBay. Financial institutions provide a lot more time for buyers to go file claims. PayPal, for example, provides 180 days. Visa, MasterCard may provide longer. We've tried to create a process on eBay where handling these disputes is kind of similar, so it doesn't create a lot of churn or different experiences for our sellers. Money back guarantee claims, when buyers file a claim on eBay, we let sellers, hey, there's been a claim. Sellers can then look at it. Buyers and sellers try to work it out for 3 business days, which is 3 working days. And then either the buyer or the seller can ask eBay to step in. This is not a necessary step. If they don't, the claim remains open for 30 days. But if they do, then we will look at it and try to make a determination of who gets a refund. If we do and you're not happy as a seller with our outcome, there's always an option to go to the claim and appeal it, and we'll definitely take a look at it. Payment disputes, like I said, similar, except now buyer is not filed this claim on eBay. They've gone to the issuer, they've gone to the card. We do get notified of this claim. We then create a case on our platform and ask you as a seller to provide us with evidence. You have a choice at that point to either accept it and refund it and not provide evidence, or you may provide evidence, at which point we'll collect the evidence from you. We'll collect the evidence we also have on our site, create a package and submit it to the issuer. Issuers can take up to 90 days to make a decision. Once we have the decision, we evaluate if there are additional seller protections that we can apply. If the claim is not eligible for seller protection, you as a seller are liable not only for a dispute amount, but also for a chargeback fee in addition, which is the dispute fee that will be applicable. One thing to note is if you accepted the claim and decided not to defend it, at that point, you will not get a dispute fee. Can we move on to the next one? Before moving on to all the seller protection eligibility, I do want to cover the kinds of evidence that we will request of you in this new process. One is tracking information. Tracking needs to show that the order was delivered to the address in your order details. Or if you didn't actually ship it or you shipped it to a store, a valid proof of pickup with the in-store with buyer identification will also do. In addition to that, any correspondence between you and the buyer or any detailed photographs or proof of authenticity, if it is applicable, is also something that we will request as document uploads. Moving on. Seller protections. Seller protections I will cover in, again, two parts. One is the seller protection, which is on eBay for EMBG claims. And then I'll move on to what's also in payment dispute in addition. For EMBG claims, for item not received EMBG claims, as I mentioned, what is required is proof of delivery to the address on order details. For items that are over $750, proof of signature is also required. The next two protections are for used or damaged returns, and we know that there are instances where buyers claim a SNAD to avoid return shipping costs. The second one, the used and damaged returns, is available if you're a seller who's top rated and offers 30-day returns, or offers, if you're not top rated, but you still offer free returns. If you get a return that's used, damaged, buyer simply opened your sealed packaging and not view lost value, you as a seller can hold back 50% to recover the decreased value of the item from the refund. On the last one, which is the return shipping label credit, if you report a buyer, you tell us that you got an item back, but you believe this was a remorse return, you shouldn't have been liable for the return shipping cost, we will credit you for up to $6 per return. Again, just to call out, this is available only to top rated sellers as of now. On the dispute side, when, again, the proofs the protections differ by claim type. For when a buyer tells us that they haven't received an item, we will cover the amount of the dispute and the fee in the following circumstances. One is where you've already received a claim on our through EMBG, through our money back guarantee program. If you've already taken care of it and refunded it, or you've already provided proof and we close the claim saying, hey, sorry, you're not responsible for it or you're protected, you will never be liable for a payment dispute of the same type for the same amount. And of course, if you haven't received an eBay claim, but you received only the payment dispute, once you provide proof of delivery, you're good and protected as a seller. Moving on. For payment disputes, when a buyer reports that they haven't got something that matched the listing description, again, if you were a seller that received a money back guarantee claim for the same type or the same item, and it's already been resolved, you're protected. The other protection I want to call out is the one I mentioned on if you held back 50% of the refund or up to 50% of the refund for something that you received used and damaged, and say you gave half a refund, the buyer then went and filed a payment dispute for the remaining portion of the refund, you still protected. We will stand behind your partial refund. So just to be clear, there is additional protection over here as well. Can we move on? The last type, of course, for payment disputes where a buyer says that they don't recognize a transaction, all we ask is proof of delivery or proof of pickup. And of course, once you provide those to the order details, again, call out on signature over 750, you are protected over there. Another important call out is transactions that are not eligible for protection are prohibited and restricted items, or items that are not covered by money back guarantee in the first place. An example of that would be digital goods, which are not covered, or real estate that's not covered by money back guarantee. Report a buyer feature. This is something I know we get a lot of questions about even in previous forums. This is one of the primary inputs for us to be able to detect buyer abuse of our policies, when buyers take advantage of our policies, or just exhibit bad behavior. These reports are the primary source for our algorithms, for our machine detection models. We have entire teams dedicating to detecting and enforcing buyer abuse and taking action. So please, whenever you have an issue, please report the buyer. Let us know something's gone wrong. This is our primary source of input, but we cannot do it without your help. And of course, you have the link over there. In our help pages, we have created additional content for you to figure out how to handle claims, how to handle disputes. Everything that I walked through today is also available in help pages, and please go look at it. Moving on. Lastly, I will just cover a few best practices, leave you with those. Before the sale, make sure you create accurate, detailed listings, upload as many pictures as you can. Once the item is sold, please make sure, as Nate says, ship within your handling time, but use a tracked shipping service and save that information for yourself. If you get a dispute and you do not have, and if you haven't shipped, don't ship the item. Just accept the dispute, move on. And always, if you do get a claim, you respond to that, but do not take your communications off the platform. Any communications on the platform are visible to us, and we do take that into account when adjudicating claims. So that is it for today, and I think we'll move on to Rebecca in question and answers.
That's right. Thank you so much. So first off, thanks everyone for sticking with us. I know we're a little over time, and we're going to take 2 Q&A questions. And I know that there were a ton of questions. Many of you have things that you'd like to know about. So we'll put a link in the chat to the seller community. And that's another place to ask your questions if you didn't get answered today, or if you have follow-ups. Okay, first of all, the first thing that I want to answer is a lot of people are wondering, is this event recorded? Can you find the links that we've mentioned here? And the answer is yes, it'll be on our YouTube channel in a couple of days, I think by end of day Thursday, and we'll send the links out in a post-event email. And then finally, if you have to get out of here now or when the event ends, there will be a survey. We hope that you'll answer it because we'd like to know what we're doing okay and what we can do better at. So thank you so much. Right, so the first question is going to be for Andrea. Andrea, I've seen a lot of this question. I've seen it regularly. Sellers see television ads, they hear radio ads for other marketplaces. And so the question is, how about eBay? What's our approach for how we decide where to advertise?
So yeah, so I think I've said this before, that our marketing is obviously, it's both art and science. We lean heavily on science. So we spend tens of millions of dollars on marketing every month. And so we tend to really be very focused on being really efficient with that spend. And so digital channels tend to give us really good efficiency. So everything from product listing ads to PLA and text ads, like the ones you see on Google, to display banners. But then we also want to, build a brand. And so that's where we start to look at what we call upper funnel channels. So that would be TV, audio, video. And so we tend to try and manage that mix. And definitely we're looking at leveraging, data in powerful ways, being really personalized, and everything that we can do to capture someone's attention and then bring them to the site and then convert them. So that being said, we have been on TV. We were on TV, as everyone knows, last summer, and we were on TV again at Christmas and over the holidays. toys, and then most recently this month, supporting sneakers. And so what we're doing is we're sort of managing the mix. And I would say, we talked a lot about social today, and social is actually a really important part of our mix, and an increasingly important part as we try and reach new audiences and get them coming to eBay and connecting with all of the great inventory that you're bringing. So sort of watch this space for a continued evolution of our marketing mix with an ongoing focus on efficiency, personalization, and conversion.
Thank you. So the next question that we have is for Harry. And Harry, this is like a real actionable question. It's all about creating velocity for your business. And the question is there a place on eBay where we can find the fastest selling products with the highest margins?
There is a new tool for, I'm glad you asked that question. It sounds like a setup question, doesn't it? Which is TerraPeak Sourcing Insights, which is a new capability under the research tab in Seller Hub, again, available to all store subscribers, basic and above, but basically it is a tool that allows you to look for categories where demand is well over the supply of the listings. We look at the listings to search ratio, and we call out where we're seeing significant differences there, like if there's 7 or 8 times the demand of listings, and then we actually allow you to dig into that category and see which combinations of item specifics are showing that demand, and then we take you to the listings in TerraPeak to see what's most active, and then we actually also show you the top listings, the combinations of the words in those listings that have, again, the most demand to the most transactions. So a phenomenal tool to look for inventory sourcing. And actually in the reverse, where supply is outweighing demand, you can actually go in and analyze in those categories, if you're selling in those categories, where there potentially is opportunities to improve your listing quality by using some of the other tools that we looked at in the past. 2 quick things I saw in the chat room. One was a question about coupons. When is it launching? It's actually starting over the next couple of days, and we call these things ramps. So we start with small percentages and get up to 100% of sellers, which will be over the course of the next couple of weeks. So let's call through the next, first couple of weeks in April. By mid-April, all US sellers should have access to the coupon functionality. Unfortunately, it is not yet available on the Canadian site because it is part of the seller marketing engine, which is not yet on the Canadian site. So my apologies for that, but for the US sellers or on .com, it'll be available over the next couple of weeks. I also did see all the great feedback to add additional fields in the packing slips, which by the way, that is working for me now. It was actually a little bit of an issue of my own connection, just because I was doing multiple browsers, multiple connections to QA and prod to show you automated PL, and I was switching back and forth. But we will take that feedback and see if we can add those additional fields to make it even better for you guys. All right. So a couple of quick updates there. Thanks.
All right. Fantastic. Thanks, Harry. And that's our show for today. First of all, I want to say thank you to Andrea, Harry, Nate, and Suman, but mostly sellers. Thank you. Thank you so much for spending some time out of your busy day with us. We really, really appreciate it. We're very excited to share these updates with you. And above all, thank you for selling on eBay. As I said, we'll do a survey as you exit the meeting. So once the meeting ends, hang on, and the survey will pop up on your screen. And with that, thank you and have a wonderful afternoon, evening, whatever applies, wherever you are. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks a lot, sellers.
Thanks.
Good to see
Thanks,
everybody.
everybody. Great seeing you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.